Precisely 1 month ago, I was sitting in this exact chair and I kept telling you how Render Networks is one of the most promising coins of this upcoming bull market. Today, 30 days have passed since that last video. Render Networks is already 33% up, all while the S&P 500 is 10% down. So that's why today, of course, we need to keep looking into our analysis for Render Networks. I'll giving you a quick overview on Bitcoin, and also we will quickly look into the S&P 500 index. So stay tuned, we're jumping right in. Hello and welcome to another video by HKCM Global. My name is Joe, and as just mentioned in the intro before, I'm not sure whether or not you have watched my last video about Render Networks. This one here. Almost a month back, so actually even over a month back. 20th of March it should have been. We'll just quickly take a look at it together. Back then, let me see. Yes, exactly, 20th of March. Back then, Render Networks. I told you about Render Networks. We dove into the project, we dove into what they're doing. It's a hugely interesting project, and I told you how in my mind their use case and their model is super promising, and that they definitely have potential to become a top 10 coin. And ever since that video, two things have happened, and I'm gonna share with you what exactly. So all the way back then, on March the 20th, Render Networks was sitting at $3.31. And I kept telling you that even while in our primary scenario we still expect the course to go just a little bit lower to form that final low here, we are already well inside our target zone. And there is a precise reason why we have established a target zone here. And that if you don't want to be super risky on the super risky side, then you should maybe not be waiting for this final move to peak just a little bit lower, but you should maybe already get into the market and load up on Render coin. And what has happened since then? You can see here that currently, as of today, we are sitting at $4.38. So starting from 329, that is already 33% gains. So in just a mere month, we have already gained a third of all our invested capital in Render Networks. But that's not all that happened. Also, back in that video, I shared with you how Render Networks, in my mind, has the absolute potential to easily become a top 10 coin because they have a tremendously beautiful use case. They're right on the forefront of all that hunger of the economy towards more computing power, towards more GPU power to train AI models, to train graphic models. And back then, I shared with you that Render Networks was back then in total market cap, on coin market cap, they were back then sitting at a rank 51. And I predicted that Render Networks is gonna become a top 10 coin within this bull cycle. And as of today, let's check, we are already at rank 39. Obviously not a top 10 coin yet by any means, but we have already gained 12 ranks on the total market cap ranking in just a mere month. So if we keep up that pace, Render Network is gonna become a top 10 coin before the end of summer. And by the way, if you're interested in such interesting information besides our regular chart analyses, you should maybe consider following us also on our X page and on our Instagram page. Both are linked down in the description below. But back to our chart analysis then with Render Networks. The story is same as in the last video. We still conclude that we will probably, in our primary scenario, still see a little lower low to complete the overreaching wave Y, to complete then the overreaching wave 2, to establish a strong foundation for this then following wave 3 wave to finally occur. However, due to the tremendous strength and performance of Render Networks ever since, we have now also established our secondary scenario, currently listed at a 37% probability that already we have alternatively the wave Y move already in, and so the wave 2 bottom, likewise the overreaching wave 2 bottom likewise in, and we would already be in the early stages of a developing wave 3 move. And that's exactly why I told you in that last video. I said, guys, sure, we still see a lower low to be in, but we are already in the midst of that target zone. And these target zones, they hold huge significance. And it is a game of probability. So if I was you, I would go into the market as I did myself. That's why I told you that. And now we already have a secondary scenario in. But that's only for the most imminent time frame. What do we see on the overreaching time frame? On the overreaching time frame, it becomes even maybe a bit more clear, because on the more imminent time frame, we only see a sideways and downwards movement. And you might maybe wonder to yourself, why would they now conclude a wave 2 bottom to be in already? Easy, I'm gonna show you on the overreaching time frame. So on the overreaching time frame, I hope it becomes a bit more clear. Over here, you can see that we have been in the development of an overreaching wave 1 ever since 2022, basically. And we have concluded a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave upward structure leading into an overreaching wave 1, which was completed in March of 2024. And ever since, we've been in an A, B, C leading into a W, followed by an X, Y correction ever since. And either way, whether or not we have already established our wave Y, wave 2 bottom here, or whether we're gonna just peak a little bit lower to only over here, maybe establish the overreaching wave 2 low. Either way, what will follow is an impulsive wave 3 move, which from current levels would easily take us up some 500%. And to maybe just share a little bit more of perspective, what also keeps me hugely bullish on Render Networks is the fact that also currently, on current levels, we are sitting at roughly 70% down. Sounds like a lot, but if you have been paying attention to the crypto market, there is countless coins out there that are down 90%. Heck, even Ethereum is probably currently down about 70%-ish. So on the downside, Render Networks perfectly keeps up with the second biggest cryptocurrency out there, namely Ethereum. And jumping back to the more imminent time frame again, I just told you that ever since our last video, which was on March the 20th, ever since then, Render has so far pulled 33% of gains. And what is super interesting to me is to compare that with Bitcoin, for example. Bitcoin, ever since, where is it? March the 20th. Bitcoin is currently only up 6%. How about, for example, the S&P 500? I'm sure you are aware of quite the volatility in the markets in the S&P 500 and in all indexes. Actually, March the 20th, the S&P 500, what did I say in the intro? Roughly 10% down. It's only 8.5% down. But still, in those turbulent times when risk assets keep selling off, Render Networks manages to pull up ahead 33% in the green all the way, while the S&P 500, super conservative asset, is 8.5% down. I mean, how much more macro bullish news do you want to hear? But before I slide into full-on preaching mode here about Render Networks and keep ranting on about it, let's quickly again jump into Bitcoin and into our more imminent and more broad outlook on the coin. And if you do not just want to see those free videos here on that platform, and if you do not want to wait on me presenting videos to you some weeks or maybe months even in the future, I would highly advise you and recommend you check out the first link in the description down below, which will take you to our website where you can subscribe to our daily market analysis service. We have 200 markets for you to choose from. And if you're also expecting an upcoming bull market in the crypto sector, I would highly advise you to check out our altcoin package, because in the altcoin package, we have collected together the most promising altcoins out there for this upcoming bull market. And if you subscribe to that market, you will get daily updates. You will get every single market entry that we do. You will get every single target zone ahead of time, so you can place your limit order before the market moves into there and maybe even already out there. And so that's really the best way for you to stay ahead of the curve and get prepared for market movements before they occur. But back to Bitcoin now. What is our scenario for Bitcoin? Bitcoin, likewise, you remember the S&P 8.5% down ever since March the 20th. How about Bitcoin? Bitcoin from March the 20th is currently up about 4%. So likewise, tremendous strength here from Bitcoin against the S&P 500 index. If you see this market structure here in Bitcoin, it doesn't really look all that bullish. But again, compared to the S&P 500, tremendous strength here that Bitcoin is displaying. Current market movement in Bitcoin, yes, we see it as the beginning of a upwards trajectory to follow through. And from these current levels, we see at least 25%, maybe up until the upper end of our target zone, maybe even 33% total gains. We currently do expect that this is only gonna be a corrective price gain, and we expect that this rally is not gonna follow through. We expect that latest here in this target zone, this rally is gonna come to a halt, and we expect after this wave A here, this wave B top there, we expect a wave C to follow through, bringing us into a deeper correction here in Bitcoin total. But for now, that's still quite a bit in the future, that's still quite a bit ahead. First of all, we do expect Bitcoin to go into that target zone of roughly the area of the old all-time high that we established here, maybe even a bit higher, probably even a bit higher with an so-called overshooting B wave. And while we are on the way to the target zone, while we are in that move, we will of course keep a close eye on the market. We will keep close track on all developing waves, we will keep close track on all indicators, and we will update you as soon as we have more confidence where exactly this target zone is gonna be at and how the probabilities are by the time that we move into the target zone to really turn them back down to the downside, or whether or not there will be probabilities developing that we might actually go through. So stay tuned, do not miss any videos that we're pumping out here, because those are plenty. And for that reason, I recommend you subscribing to that channel, turning on the bell notification. And also, if you are in the market with considerable sums of money, I would highly recommend you checking out our daily market analysis service, because if you have considerable amounts of money in the market, you do not want to be dependent with your decisions on just randomly popping up YouTube videos. That's not a wise thing to do, but that's totally up to you. That's just my opinion. Up until then, see you in the next one. Take care.